Good afternoon. Nice to see so many people here. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Scala Steward. I'm Jeff Martin. I've been here at Homeway for a long time, but basically been part of the Scala team for about the last 3 or 4 years, as long as we've had a dedicated Scala team. So I'm going to be talking about Scala Steward. I'd like to just start off with a quick show of hands, first of all, just to get a bit of an idea of what I'm dealing with. Who in the room is really hot? Yes, sorry about that. Is anybody using Scala Steward at the moment? Any projects? We have one over there. Has anybody looked at it, thought about it? A couple more people. Okay, is anybody interested in it? Good, there's at least a few of you. Okay, so let's start off with a quote. Scala Steward is a tenacious, pitiless robot in the battle against pitfalls. It's a hugely significant step in the Scala tooling world, and everybody should use it. There you go. So, as I said, we've had a dedicated Scala, or several dedicated Scala teams for about 3 or 4 years now, and we started off with this, blank slate. So we had no pre-existing Scala code, first thing we do is create a repository. That's good. This is hosting our service, release this production, it's kind of working. Then we have a second service, second repository, and then we start to share code between repositories. Then this kind of happens, and we end up with a load of repositories. Okay? And one day, there's a little spark, a little fire. Somebody updates the library, and this starts to then propagate incompatibilities into our projects. We find that whilst this change is cool for some projects, there's other projects which have other dependencies, and we can't now upgrade those projects. We're stuck. Whilst this is happening, the core libraries are still evolving, adding new features which we now can't use because we're still trying to put out these little fires. What starts with a little fire gradually becomes everything's burning. It's getting a little bit tricky. So, whilst this is going on, everything is on fire. I've got a strange hobby. I tend to read commit messages on the internet. So, I start seeing kind of this going on, and a bit more, and it's like, oh, okay, interesting. So then I say, who is this Scala Steward? He's doing a lot out there. What it turns out is it's actually the creation of Frank Thomas, who's done a huge service to the whole Scala community in producing this and releasing it as an open source project. It's a robot that sits out there on GitHub and will update your dependencies automatically. It will go away, check the dependencies, raise a PR against your project, which you can then just merge in, and you stop having to worry about managing those things yourself. So, why do we care about our dependencies? So I like to think of it as the 3 S's. Security, scalability, and technical debt. Okay. So the first one, security. So I assume that some of you are kind of aware of this that happened, and there was a big data breach. A lot of people got very annoyed. This company is now having to pay a lot of money to people in terms of compensation for the damage that they've caused. This was caused by an unpatched version of struts. So there was a security patch had been released. It had been released several months before, but the engineering team hadn't actually upgraded to release that patch, which, to be honest, that probably happens a lot. But they got caught and they've got big problems now. So, security, we care. Next one, microservices. Most of our code is microservices. So what we have is a lot of small, very dedicated services. Because of the life cycle of those microservices, they tend to live in different repositories. which means that we're now actually starting to, whilst we can upgrade and deploy things in small, easy chunks, sometimes maintaining them means the code is spread around in a lot of different places. And the last one is tech debt. So yes, upgrade your libraries is a tech debt thing. You want to keep yourself up to date because otherwise you're not. So what does Scala Steward actually do? This is what it does. So it's going to come in here and it's going to change this 2 to a 3. That's good. So what it's doing is you'll if you add your project to the list of projects that Scala Steward is looking at, it's going to come in. And if somebody releases a library upgrade, so from here we've gone from 093 to 094, it's going to check your project and see, right, do we have any instances of 093 that we can migrate to 094? And so in your SBT configuration, your build configuration, if it finds this, it's going to go, yes, we've got a 093, we can upgrade that to 094. If it's in this format, so if you've separated out your version numbers into variables, yep, it'll still do it. Good. Good. Even lowercase, good. And plugins as well. So it'll go away, and if you've got any plugins in your project that need updating, it will update those as well. There's some things that it can't do. So if you've split your version numbers across multiple lines, it will tend to get a bit confused by this. Comments, it will update the last bit but not the front bit. And kind of this is the bit that kind of got us, because we had a bunch of projects which existed already. Then we started using Scala Steward, and then we started to wonder, why is it not picking up our dependencies? And it's because of the way that we've named the variables. So if we just say version, it doesn't know what version it is. So it needs the library name needs to be in the version variable. Otherwise it doesn't know how to link up the two of them together. Once we did this, it made things work, which was nice. So the rules for updating things. So it doesn't just go out there and pick the latest version. What it's going to be doing is looking at the major, minor, and patch versions. And so it's going to start with the patch version. So it's going to say, right, if you're at 100 or 101, and somebody releases a 102, it's going to go, oh right, I'm going to go to the next patch version. If you've got the latest patch version, then if there's a release, it's going to say, okay, are there any minor updates that we can go towards? And then finally, it's going to look at the major numbers. So it's not going to just go straight from 100 to 300. It's going to take you on several steps to get there. So it's going to do the kind of the most compatible change to things. As a bonus feature, and this is actually something that I think really lifts Scala Steward to the next level, is Scala Fix integration. So not only will it now go, oh, you've got dependencies which need to be updated, it will then come in and say, oh, and I've updated your code to work with those new dependencies, which is a really cool feature. It's very early days for this. It's like only within the last month or so that it's been released, so it's kind of, it's not fully fledged, I think, at the moment. So at the moment, it's a hard-coded list of Scala fixes. So if somebody's released a Scala fix on their project, and they've bothered to go into Scala Steward and add this integration, then it will automatically happen. But it's not going to happen automatically, magically, just go, oh right, there's something that I need to update, and move on from there. There is a plan, there's an issue which has been raised to actually do that, so that Scala Fix supports publishing of fixes to Maven repos. There is an issue open to actually use that. So if somebody just does a general publish with their libraries, then it'll actually start to put that down. But at the moment, it's a hard-coded list. So this is what you end up with at the end of the day, is a nice pull request that's been raised against your repository, which you can then see, right, is it building, am I comfortable with this change? Do I really want to merge this change into my repository? but it's very nice to have it doing that automatically. We run these things on a daily basis. It's nice to come in the morning and find that it's done a load of updates for you. So there's kind of two modes of operation. The original mode is really where it's GitHub hosted. So if you've got a project on github.com that you want Scala Steward to start updating, you can just go into the Scala Steward project, release a PR against this repos.md markdown file, and then Scala Steward will actually start checking your dependencies and updating your project for you. Obviously, most of us work for organisations where we don't allow, or we aren't allowed to actually release our code on GitHub. So if you want to run it internally, there's a Docker image which you can then actually just set up to run. Not only does it support GitHub, it also supports Bitbucket and GitLab. And this is the way that we run it. We have a Jenkins job that we run to do this every morning. So the way that this generally works is we run we have got Jenkins job which runs every morning. We run Scala Steward. That will then start raising PRs. The PRs obviously go through our continuous integration pipeline, at which point we can see things either pass or fail. If it passes, then it's actually pretty straightforward. It's just, yeah, merge it in, good, it goes out to production. If it fails, then you've got to actually kind of like wrestle with that failure. The really nice thing is it's actually it's giving you advance warning of these things. It's not a case that you just come in and then find out later on when you want to upgrade a library that's a problem. As soon as that library's been released, I can actually see how does this work with my project, which gives you much more early warning of these issues. Also gives the people writing libraries potentially an earlier warning about issues. So yes, this is what you're kind of looking for. If it's passing, great, I can just move ahead. If it's not passing, then I've got an opportunity to actually address that. And I can either, because it's doing it ahead of time, I now have a chance to actually schedule that work when I want to. I don't just find out when I'm working on a ticket that, oh, I need to make these changes. This is something that I can actually see already that I've got these potential issues, and I can schedule that work ahead of the point where I need to actually get it done. One word of warning. When you do start to go down this route, don't add all your projects at once, because you will get a load of pull requests, and then you spend the next kind of like month or two trying to actually kill them all off. It was a bit of a nightmare. So one by one is probably my suggestion in terms of the way that you add things to this. There's a couple of little kind of bumps that we kind of discovered along the way. So the way that SBT publishes journals at the moment, it doesn't include this Maven metadata file. This is an important file for detecting other versions. So the SBT updates plugin, which is used by Scala Steward, it's looking for this file. If it can't find this file, it doesn't know what other versions are out there. So that's not supported by SBT by default, but there is a plugin which allows you to work around it. So this will actually publish this file for you. There is a further caveat to that didn't work for plugins, so it only worked for libraries, not plugins, but we have actually submitted a fix to that project, so it now will work for plugins, but you're going to have to download and build your own version of the SBT deploy plugin in order for that to get used. Hopefully at some point they'll do a release and then the whole problem will go away. The problem also hopefully will go away with the next version of SBT. So SBT 1.3 is based on Corsair. That by default publishes this file correctly. So hopefully that problem will go away and it'll be wonderful. So in conclusion, Scala Steward is great. Thank you very much.